In today's episode, we are talking about the Cybersecurity Maturity Model certification and where we find information about it, the websites supporting it. This is a kind of an introductory for my series that's going to be focused on how I attained my own CMMC certifications. Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Dan Tooten. I am a retired senior technology leader for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and have worked in a wide range of small, medium, and Fortune 500 companies, as well as both state and federal government. I hold a number of industry certifications, including both PMP and CISSP, as well as more recent CMMC-based certifications, RP, RPA, CCP, and CCA. My career has focused on a combination of technology leadership, project, program, and portfolio management, with cybersecurity excellence as a continuous running theme. This channel is dedicated to sharing my experience and insights gained over the last 40 years, but placed in the light of how they impact today's technology, process, and cybersecurity leaders. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. So without further ado, we're going to start here at the DoD CIO information page, and it is specifically on cybersecurity. You can move into the About CMMC to learn more about it as an overall. In a nutshell, there are 3 levels of cybersecurity model maturity levels that are being looked at. Entry level, that's specifically focused on the ability to take and protect federal contracting information. Levels 2 and 3 are on protecting controlled unclassified information, and level 2 actually has 2 separate areas, which if you look down here in the bottom part, you can see that there's a self-evaluated level and there's a C3PAO evaluated level. Over the course of this series, we'll get into more detail about all of those, but we do want to look briefly at the resources here. Also off of that same main page, just second button over the resources. And in here you've got a number of documents, you've got a number of items to do. There's even a CMMC 101 brief, both without and with audio, that you can use to get a good understanding of CMMC overall. The bottom line is this: if you're going to do work with the Department of Defense, you will be required to have a CMMC certification for your organization, and that certification level will be determined by the type of contract that you're going to have. If you have a contract for, let's say, janitorial services, and it's not a secure site and something like that, you're probably only going to need to worry about federal contracting information, and so you could get away with just a CMMC level 1. However, a lot of the work that is done at DoD is going to require access to some form of controlled unclassified information, and so you'll need to at least do that tier 2. Well, to get those the tier 2, you need professionals that are certified. So there is an entire ecosystem. The next main site we're going to look at today is called CyberAB. And cyberab.org. They are the official organization that works hand in hand with the DoD to manage the CMMC program. They are responsible for the certifications, for certifying organizations that can be third-party assessors, for authorizing organizations that can be registered providers of services, the learning materials, etc. All of those come through the CyberAB and its associated organization, the CAICO. So within the CMMC ecosystem, one of the questions that you need to consider off the bat, if you're looking for personal certification like I was, is are you looking more for consulting or are you looking more for assessing and certification? So under consulting, we have registered providers advanced, and registered practitioners, and then registered practitioner organizations. So those are the 3 different levels for consulting. If you have these levels of certifications, you have attained the requirements to be listed within the CMMC marketplace, and you are authorized to consult to help people to attain their CMMC certification. If, on the other hand, you are going to assess, there's a different track that you need to go down, and it's a fairly robust pathway. So first of all, you're going to apply to become the CCP, the CMMC certified professional is the first level, and you have to get CCP before you can get CCA, the certified assessor, and you have to be certified assessor before you can become a lead CCA. So, beginning this journey, much like I did, you're going to start through the process on the Cyber AB. You're going to apply for the CCP program, and once you get to a point of filling out your application, they're going to look for you to receive training from an official training provider. No, there are no self-study materials that you can get at this point. You have to go through an authorized training provider to attain your certification. There are a company or two that have combined classes where you get the classes from both CCP and CCA. It's more a matter of your toleration for being able to absorb information and then turn around and take the assessment tests. After each class, you're going to have to take the exam. After you take the exam, you are then eligible to get submitted for a DoD Tier 3 clearance, roughly the same equivalence of a secret clearance. And then this seems to be a single pathway. However, you don't have to wait for this to be done before you start your CCA journey. So in my case, I chose to take the combined classes. So when I was done and I applied for both the CCP and the CCA right away, then I studied took the exam for CCP, submitted my Tier 3, studied took the exam for the CCA, still didn't have my Tier 3 certification yet. And then over the course of time, I received my Tier 3 certification, and now I have all of those certifications. However, on the other side of the coin, if you're not planning to go down the assessor journey, if you're going to help, if you're going to consult, if you're going to assist people to become CMMC certified or their organization to become CMMC certified, you're going to need to go down the other ecosystem path that I mentioned before, and that is the registered provider, registered practitioner. Now, all of this is actually, it's a bit less expensive to get certified to be able to do the consulting than it is to do the assessing. And so part of that is the application fee is less. The second part of that is the training. Once you apply for the registered practitioner, you'll get access to training that is hosted by Cyber AB. It's self-study. It's at your own pace to get through. There's a test at the end of it to certify that you have an understanding of all the materials. So it's a much lower threshold in terms of investment of time, investment of wherewithal to be able to do the consulting for folks through the registered practitioner route. That being said, although I chose to add to my list of credentials the RPA credentials in addition to the CCP and CCA, it's not mandatory. If you have the certifications that you do through the standard certification route, you can certainly consult for other companies, helping them to attain their certification. What you cannot do, and you'll learn this as part of your training, is you cannot consult for a company and then assess that same company. That's a conflict of interest, and it's an absolute no-no in the CMMC community. So that's a brief overview of the certification ecosystem as it stands and the ecosystem that I went through. We will talk more in future episodes, but at least you have an understanding of the options that you can choose to either consult, assess, or do both. And I will be bringing you more CMMC information in coming episodes. Thank you so much for your time.